Hey, hi guys. So, yesterday we have seen singleton design pattern definition, and we have seen how many ways are there to create an instance. So, we have seen this first one, eager instantiation. So, where we were creating an instance at the time of class loading with the help of static variable and static block. But today we will understand this second point, lazy instantiation. So if you haven't watched my first video, then I will put the link in the description. So I would suggest you can watch the first video and then move into this one. Otherwise you won't be able to understand. So today we'll understand the second point, this lazy instantiation. So lazy instantiation means we will create an instance wherever it is required in the program. So I will create one program. So I already have created one project with the name of the singleton design pattern, and this package I already have created. Now I will create one class. So I will create a class with the name of singleton. Singleton lazy instantiation, we can say. Instantiation. So you can put anything, you can put any name. It should be a meaningful name. So I have given this class name. So now we will follow the same procedure which we have followed yesterday. These three steps we will use for this lazy instantiation as well. So it is saying create private static variable of the same class that is the only instance of the class. So we will do the same thing. So it is saying create private static variable. So I will create private static and variable. So I will take this variable I am creating with this class name, and then we can give any instance, means any reference variable you can give. It could be any reference variable. So I am giving instance here. You can take anything, any name you can take it. So as of now I am putting here null because I don't want to create an object here, because if I'll create here then it will be eager instantiation, but I don't want to create eager instantiation. Now I will create an instance wherever it is required, wherever I need it, right? So I will just declare the variable here. So first point we have seen. So we have created private static variable of the same class that is the only instance of the class. So we have created this, right? Now we will move into the second point. I will declare one public string str. I will create one more variable and keeping this public. Now second point, it is saying create private constructor so that it will be restrict from other classes. So I will create one private constructor. So constructor name should be the same name as in the class name. So I will create one constructor, and this constructor should be private so that other classes cannot access it, right? So here we have declared this string, right? str. So I can give here any string. So we can take any string here. So I'm taking this, let's say this is singleton class design pattern. See, so second point also we have seen. So these 2 points we have covered, right? Now third point, we will move into the third point. Third point, it is saying create public static method. So I will create one public static method. Public static, and then we can give the method, but it should have some return type. So return type, I'm using this class name, and then method name you can take anything. So since I am getting this instance from here, so I will use this get instance. You can use anything. Method name could be anything, right? So since I have used here return type, this is a return type, so it will return some instance. So I will use it. It will return this instance, right? So now I will put one condition as well. What I want, if I'm saying if this instance, if this instance is equal to null, then only it will create an instance, or you can say object. Instance and object both are the same, so don't need to confuse. So if instance will be null, then it will create one object. So how you can create an object? With the help of this instance is equal to new, and then this class name, right? So when it will found this instance is equal to null, then it will create an object here, right? And after that it will return this instance, right? So here see, so this is a lazy instantiation, because here we are creating one static method, and under this method we are creating this instance. But in the eager instantiation, we were creating an instance in this variable here, or else we were creating in static block, right? So that it can create an instance while class loading, means before executing the main method in eager instantiation. But in lazy instantiation, we are creating under this method where it is required. But in lazy instantiation, we were creating an instance under static block. But here we are not creating under the static block. We are creating under static method. So why we are using static method? So that we don't need to create any object. We can directly call along with this class. Since it belongs to the class, so we can directly call it this method, right? So we have seen all 3 points. So with the help of these 3 points, we have created this program. This is a singleton design pattern. And the singleton design pattern we have created with the lazy instantiation, right? So now I will create one main method here. And after that, I will declare one variable, reference variable. So we can take any reference variable. Let's say I'm taking obj1 is equal to. Now I want to call this method. Since this method is static method, so I can call directly with this class name. class name dot, and then we can call this method get instance method. This is a get instance method we are getting here. So we can call this method, right? So likewise, we can create 3 to 4 object, and I will change this reference variable. All right. Now, if I want to print, then how we can print it? So let's suppose that this obj1, since we have taken here a string, right? So str is equal to, and then we can take obj dot str. Now I want to trim it. I will use trim method, so that whatever the extra space will be there, it will remove it. Trim method. So same I will use it for all 4 instances. Instance and object both are same. So again, you don't need to confuse. Right? So if I want to print these instances, then we will have to use the system.out.println, and there we can use this instance. Three, 4. So if I run this program, then it will create same object for all 4 reference variable, these reference variable. So I will explain you one by one. See, it is returning the same output. This is singleton class design pattern. Same output it is returning for all 4 object. I will explain you why. So what it will do, it is calling to this method, get instance method. Here we are calling to this get instance method. So in the get instance method, it will go and it will check the condition. It will check if this instance, whether this instance is null or not. So first time it is checking here instance, it is a null, right? So what it will do, it will create one instance, it will create one object, right? So once it will create an object, and then it will return the object. So once it will create an object, it will get this output, right? This is singleton, because here in this instance, whenever it will create an this object, right? Whenever it will create an object, it will call to this constructor, and constructor will get executed, and it will give the output here, this output, right? So first time it will be null. So whenever it will find out the null, it will create an this object, and once it will create an object, it will give this output, whatever we are using inside this constructor. And but for the second time, and it will return it, right? So now it has written some value here. Now this is not a null. Now it has this output, this. Now instance has some output. This output instance has now. So second time it will not be null. So second time, if it is not null, so if I'll call this, so since now it is not null, it will go inside this get instance, and it will check, is instance null? No, it is not null. So it will not create any object. It will not create. It will give same output again and again. For these 3, it will return the same output, because only first time instance will be null. So only first time it will check if instance is null, then it will create an object. But for the second time, instance will not be null. because it has some value, because after creating an instance it is returning that value, right? This value it is returning here. So for the second time this instance will not be null, so it will return some same value, because second time it will not go inside this if condition. So these three lines will not be executed for second, third and fourth time. It will be executed only for the first time when instance will be null. So that is the reason in the definition has been written, a class must ensure that only single instance should be created. It is creating only single instance, and single instance can be used by all other classes. So this single instance, right? This single instance, we can use it multiple times and in multiple classes, but it will give an output same. It will give the same output. It will create an object at once only, and for the second time, third time and fourth time, whenever you will execute, it will return the same output, right? So if if I will create one another class in this test, I will copy it from here. If I'll create one more class, lazy instantiation. See, so this is another class, right? If I'll execute this, then again it will return the same output. See, it is returning the same output. So it doesn't matter wherever you are creating an object, it will return the same output, because that instance will be created at once only, right? So in one class, we will create only one instance, and that one instance we can use in other classes, in multiple classes, and in all the classes it will return the same output, right? So the only difference is in between this eager instantiation and lazy instantiation. The only difference is this eager instantiation will be created an instance at the time of class loading, but this lazy instantiation, it will create an instance whenever it is required, right? It means this eager instantiation, we can create an instance with the help of static variable, or we can say static block. But this lazy instantiation we can use along with the static method, right? Wherever it is required. Or we can use any other method as well. But static method we are using so that we can directly call it from class, right? So I hope you understood. If you still have any question, then you can ask me in the comment. I will reply you. Thank you guys.